It's And Just Like That, Season 1, Episode 4, Some of My Best Friends. As she looks to move forward, Carrie meets with self-made real estate broker Seema Patel. Charlotte plans a high-stakes dinner party for LTW, and Miranda and Naya connect over the frank realities of motherhood.
He even practiced that.
You know what happens is like when you actually practice something, ever practice it, then you fuck it up. Mess it up. Oops. Hi guys. Welcome to Pod and the City. It's Joan and Amanda.
Hi. I'm sorry, I'm flipping my camera back around because I look crazy with the mirror switched. Guys, we're here to discuss this episode. Some of my best friends. We're doing a hate rewatch, except there's not going to be a lot of hate today because this is a good episode, because Michael Patrick King didn't really get his grubby little paws all over it that much. He actually had the wherewithal to step back and let what a concept, Black female writer take the lead here for a little bit.
He used his brain once. Guys, if you're watching us on YouTube, could you hit subscribe, also hit like, and hit share. You could also hit the bell icon on there because we go live every Friday at 2 p.m. EST. And this Friday we went live and talked all about this episode. And again, we couldn't really still we complain. We still had plenty to snark on, and we still dogged on Michael Patrick King a lot. Speaking of that, check out our other video, The Man Who Ruined, and Just Like That, because that's what happened, y'all. I mean, Sarah Jessica Parker had a hand in it, and maybe we'll do one about her too, but
I almost wonder, and I guess while we're in this kind of housekeeping thing, next week is the Tragically Hip episode, which is this one, the finger bang in the
It's
kitchen.
Also where Carrie, I forgot that she does the full cycle. She is cured by the end of the episode in stilettos again. So basically,
it's triggering for someone to watch as somebody who shattered their ankle over 3 years ago now. It's real tough to watch her just be able to wear heels again. The other day, I went to the movies with Justine, the Toxic Avenger, and she texted me the next day. She's like, "I'm really worried about you and that ankle." And I'm like, "It's just kind of because I'll go from with my feet up, and then I put the feet down to go to the bathroom, and I'm like lurching out of the place."
Well, guys, give some suggestions in the comments about what Amanda should do. Should she get
another surgery? I'm waiting for another surgery. The Canadian.
You know what you can do? Amanda needs ankle surgery, so join our Patreon. It's patreon.com/podandthecity. Over there, just join, okay? Because over there we do extra episodes every single week. We're doing We're covering season 1 of Smash, season 1 of Vanderpump Rules, season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. And we're doing our infamous Pillow Talk episodes. Last week we had a live Pillow Talk that was Patreon exclusive. So
it's actually super fun because I'm currently very celibate. I had a little horny 6 months this past year, and then I was like, I'm kind of done with this. But so I always feel like when Pillow Talk comes up, I'm like, I'm not gonna have anything to talk about. But we've been doing Cosmo quizzes, so it allows us to at least talk about sex, and we get pretty nasty in there.
Well, I mean, you're making it sound porny, but it's more like, we talk about real-ish, and it was actually really, really fun doing our Patreon live exclusive thing for it, because one, mostly if you're on Patreon, we know that you probably don't hate us, and two, then we got to kind of just all have little slumber party time together. It was chit chatting, maybe next time we'll wear face masks or something. And
Ooh, I would love that. So fun. All right,
so join us over there. And really this episode, I mean, one thing that we were missing, luckily, was Che, though there was one short scene with Che that I was really trying to not be annoyed, but I just was trying to suspend disbelief about things.
What's the girl's? Is Ali Stroker?
Ali Stoker, I think.
Ali Stoker. I'm still confused. I love that there is inclusion, but the way the the way it's being presented seems like another checked box. And it's they're not really getting into the character. It just seems like here's a person with a disability. There. Are you guys happy now? That's what
that is definitely what a lot of this feels like. And I think that Michael Patrick King himself is probably feeling like he's doing us a service.
I think he's
want there to this is what's annoying is I effing hate this even having to have this conversation, because you should just have this. It shouldn't feel to us watching like you're trying to shove something down our throat when I want it shoved down. I want it shoved down my throat. I want there to be inclusion on your show.
So, and Ellie Stoker won a Tony for the revival of Oklahoma, where she played Ado Annie. And I love that because that was kind of a new age version of the show, but like it didn't seem like they were checking a box for that. It seemed like she's like has a great voice and she had a unique take on the character. And that didn't seem as shoved in our face as it is just here.
Well, her existence isn't like, it's hard because there can be a feeling of like, it sounds almost like her existence is like her existing is not her being shoved in our face. You know what I mean? Like it's a blur. It's a fine line here in the conversation, because it's like,
I'm glad it's there.
Just be in life.
The intention seems, there's intention that I'm not reading. Maybe
I don't like the intention of the entire show, because you went in looking at it like we didn't have any of this on our first show, and now we want to do this.
They say that on the radio all the time. We're trying to make sure that we're inclusive this time. But
they should have had more inclusiveness than in the writer's room itself then too, in the production of the show, not just in what you're putting on screen, because it then does feel like you're saying, ooh, look at what we're doing. We're so amazing. That's almost what it feels like more than anything. It's like, look at how great we are. We're teaching you something. And it's like, first of all, for someone like me, I don't need to be taught by you this. You're not the person to teach me this. Now, speaking of this episode, what I liked is that this was written by a Black woman, and because of the nuances of the episode and the storyline, that actually provided like
I just want to get her name here.
An experience that is true to life.
Yeah. Her name is Kelly or Keely Goff. And she's on the Writers Room podcast for this episode.
And that's it?
Well, that's the only episode that I think so.
Does it say anything else that she's written?
I looked up her bio the other day. She hasn't done that much. So I don't really know, but she's great, because on the Writers Room, Michael Patrick King introduces her and then lets her actually speak for a good amount of time, much longer than he lets any of the other women on their talk. And she was so smart. And I think also she's much smarter and worldly than Michael Patrick King. So I don't think he even know. He's just like, I can't even contribute to this conversation. And just like the mayor of Kingstown, to Journal Hollywood Reporter. She's kind of new, so it's cool that she got this. Being Mary Jane, have you heard of that?
Yeah. I think it's good. It's like the best person to tell a story is the person who has lived. I mean, a person who has lived that story is a better person to tell that story than someone who hasn't. I mean, and
I'm actually glad that they're getting writers that are not Michael Patrick King and Cindy Shupak or whatever, that people that are our age who are still relatable and not rich millionaires and have,
Well, what probably could have saved this from the beginning was to have people writing it who were fans of the original series.
We don't want the original series though, John.
I know, but that could have saved the entire thing. You could have had people our age who loved,
who have a reverence,
slightly older even, who loved the series and have the references in their mind to just jump off. But I don't know that the people in the writers' room even liked Sex and the City, did they?
I think they did though, because I can hear on listening to the Writers' Room podcast, when the girls start talking too much, Michael Patrick King makes sure to get in there and interrupt them. When they start bantering off each other too much, he will immediately interrupt and be like, let's get back on track, ladies. I think that I'm getting the sense that they all were really doing their best here, because on the writer's room, they will make references to a random episode from the original series. So they knew, but I think there was only so much they could do without him firing them. I think if you push too hard back on him, he'll fire you, probably like in a blaze of glory in front of everyone and embarrass you.
I want to do like a being John Malkovich situation and get inside his head just to see what's going on.
I was going to say something really bad, but I'll leave it.
I just want to see how we got here. I said it in our live earlier over on YouTube that, or if we're on YouTube now.
About your shower thought?
Yes, I was in the shower as I just like, I will get thoughts, you know, like as one does, especially when you're like single and you live alone. There's no other noise. So, you know, you're like, I literally was like, they could have done anything. And I just repeated it and was like scrubbing my hair. Like, literally, they could have genuinely done anything with this show because they didn't try to have real true reverence for the original characters themselves anyway. I mean, maybe they believe they did. So if you weren't going to do that anyway, this is what we've landed on. That's what I don't quite. Now, I'm not referencing this episode. I think this episode does a good job of doing what they're attempting to do with the series.
Yeah, but my question for the episode. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Continue. My question would be, what does this have to do with even Sex and the City? And even if we don't want that, what does this have to do with a series that you're trying to make? What is your series is that you're trying to show the diversity in New York City? You've utterly failed at that because diversity is not just someone's skin or someone's being in a wheelchair. It goes far beyond that.
This whole episode seems like a checked box as just a full episode. Like, well, there we did our diversity Black woman episode, and now next tragically hit.
And in a way, I'm glad they did this though. Like, I don't feel it was a checked box in the fact that if this was the story they needed to tell, thank God they did this. If we would have glazed over this, it would have been annoying.
And they could have kept going with this because she did the thesis of the episode, as she says, was when you meet a new friend and you have to push past that polite barrier and you get into the second layer of your friendship. So we did that, set up all these great stories, duos, backstories, rich storylines. And then next episode, we got Che banging Miranda in the kitchen while Carrie pees into a Snapple bottle.
I kind of don't understand too why they didn't have anyone who is like at different economic status. I would have really liked to see one of the friends
lose their money,
not rich. I mean, that also, like, yes, we're seeing
even Che is rich because Che buys that house in Hudson Yard.
Everyone in the show, we're to believe even like Bobby Lee and Smoke in their whatever, they don't seem broke. No one on this is like broke. No one.
Well, Bobby Lee's character is a successful podcaster, Joe. And you know how podcasters are rolling in the dough.
I mean, some of them are your doughboys. I'm sure they got money.
The man, Mitch. I think the doughboys make several $1 million a year.
I'm sure they do.
Like easily.
Well, anyway, should we get into the episode?
We'll get there.
We've talked about the episode around the episode, but now let's just do it.
Okay, yeah, great. Well, again, like we like this episode, so let's just try to. There were some funny parts in here too. Again, because the writing was well done. Because Michael Patrick King wasn't part of it. Okay, I said I definitely right at the beginning. I definitely don't mind seeing Carrie wake up in her old apartment because, as we remember, the last episode ended with her. And just like that, I found my way home. I'm sounding like Ellen Green in Little Shop a little bit, aren't I?
I don't mind her waking up in her apartment either. The only thing I don't love is that all of these episodes just start so low energy.
Yes.
Like it's not boosting me into anything.
And like blip, blip.
Yeah, it's just so like even with the original series, it would play the I mean, I've bitched about this plenty of times, not having a fucking theme song.
Oh, I think
Or
so,
like
yeah.
having the theme song or having the intro. I don't necessarily need the title cards, but having some kind of continuing theme song would at least set a tone.
I would have loved for them to have done a theme song that is very reminiscent of the Sex, like even if they just almost copied it, but then kind of like, took the piss out of it or something, like just something like a little more like just we're referencing this.
I have a feeling though they would have made it like a minimalist, like dour piano solo.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of one of the more fast-paced openings we're going to get because we at least are touching base with all the characters. We have Carrie waking up in her old apartment, Charlotte trying to book a colonoscopy for Harry. I would bet $1 million that they did not even have the foresight to know that Harry would have cancer later. Like, I genuinely don't even think this colonoscopy thing has to do with that foresight. I think this was just funny so that Charlotte could use the colonoscopy.
Well, doesn't he end up getting a colonoscopy anyway in the episode?
No.
Yeah, he does, because she ends up canceling the original dinner party she's going to have. I don't think this was at all to do with him getting cancer later. Not one bit.
Like they definitely had no foresight.
This was just because, haha, when you're old, you have to get something. You have to get something shoved up your butt.
Over to LTW is getting. LTW is getting her kids ready for school, and her daughter speaking French. And this is what the writer said, that she's like, like I would see very rarely, I would see a Black person on TV who like spoke a different language or like was in a higher, she's like, you very rarely saw people in a higher class. And she's like, it was good to see that. You need to get that out there so kids can see it. So right, LTW orders a croissant and she pronounces it croissant. So I think this must just be Nicole Ari Parker pronouncing it like that. And I hate it. Because she does it throughout the whole series.
Is her name Nicole Ari Parker or Ari Nicole Parker?
Nicole Ari Parker.
Because I think originally I thought it was Ari Nicole Parker, which to me rolls off the tongue more. But I still think they have, again, saddled this woman with the ugliest effing clothes. She is wearing a heinous outfit.
In this opening scene, I don't remember it.
Maybe it's not the opening scene. I think it's when she's maybe standing outside, because she has this orange jacket with these like culotte kind of teal pants. They're not pants, but they're like to her knees.
I watched this late last night. Oh, by the way, there's over to Andre Rashad handing Naya a coffee. Andre Rashad. And Charlotte and LTW now meet with the moms at school. This is like it's like three younger ladies, probably in their like early 30s. And one of the women who is Black, it comes up later. She's like, oh, Charlotte, you're just really dropping the ball or something. And then LTW jumps in and she's like, actually, what's this woman's name? Like, let's say it's Claire or something. She's like, actually, Claire, if you would have read the email that I'm assuredly it went to your spam, you would have seen that Charlotte was on top of this. And then Charlotte's like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. By the way, I can't wait to go to your house for George Washington's birthday. And she's like, oh, I can't wait to meet all your friends. And then Charlotte's like, oh, well, let's do it this Thursday. And LTW is like, okay. So that they've set that up, that they each want to introduce each other to their friends. Right? Oh, and then Charlotte's like, okay, well, Harry has a colonoscopy, but I guess I'll cancel it. So she canceled the colonoscopy. There's going to be a dinner at Charlotte and Harry's house. LTW and George Washington are going to come.
I'm going to bite my tongue because I'm just going to sound like a hater. So
go ahead, say it.
I just feel like Charlotte doing the whole like, mom friends, I'm now dealing with like being a PTO, blah, blah, blah. It's just like.
But that is her character. She would have done that if she was still married to Trey.
I guess so. I guess it's just like the show itself. Then I guess that's just something I don't care about as much. I don't mind the storyline of her and LTW. I think that's good. But then like, I guess maybe that's just a personal thing. And that's probably because I'm like a gay man who has no children, that I'm like the interweavings of like mommy drama at
Yeah.
school is like not interesting to me.
Right.
Okay.
Well, but then that means that we're probably gonna like the Miranda Naya storyline, right?
I didn't hate the Miranda's Naya storyline. In fact, I love how they learn to see each other as who they are.
Oh,
That is what
that was great.
I love.
Brilliant. At Miranda's, Brady and his girlfriend, who's wearing like no bra and like a loose tank top and like her underwear.
This
they're
scene
like,
drove me crazy.
they walk up to Miranda. You know why it drove me crazy? Because I'm a pot smoker, so like this wouldn't happen.
That's
All that
wow.
Miranda did last night was get one shotgun from Che 12 hours ago.
Also,
and Brady and girlfriend are like, you reek of weed, Mom. No,
well, did she come home and she didn't change her clothes at all? She didn't shower. She didn't brush her teeth. She didn't.
But you wouldn't smell like it anyway. 10 minutes later at the bar, you're not gonna still smell
I could see, because they were trying to imply that at the comedy concert, there were people smoking joints the whole place around. Remember, they kept showing people in Charlotte.
But I just don't even, I think weed really drops off you.
I agree.
It's not like cigarette smoke.
But if she had come home, like if it was not, there's just like, there were too many steps in between for her to be smelling like pot for them to think
reeking of pot, they said.
It was stupid and annoying.
She said, I went to a comedy concert last night, okay? And there were a lot of alternative types smoking weed. And then
I'm
Brady
surprised she didn't say, like, I got kissed.
What
happened? What do we predict happened after that?
I don't know.
In the episode, they don't
remember. Even the episode after Tragically Hip, where Miranda's having those sexy.
No, I don't want to think about it.
It's like in like a fluorescent light, and it's.
I don't want to think about it, because actually, that's my entire recounting of the actual finger banging scene is those flashbacks,
like
where they're in white liminal space with terrible lighting, and they're like,
"Put your hands on me." Oh, it's so awful. We see Carrie. Okay, I said this on the live. I could have just watched this next scene for. I'll extend this out. It's Carrie pulling a couple dresses from the series and like holding them up. Just show that.
We don't want that.
That's what we came for.
We don't want that.
No, you think you do, but you don't. So Carrie now walks out of her house in this ridiculous outfit. But then I kind of don't mind this either, because I'm like, she wore crazy outfits in the series. And then she walks into a bodega, and another woman like walks into the bodega, looks her up and down, and then gives her a look, and then just walks away. And I loved that. And Carrie tells the bodega guy that Big died, because she's in her old neighborhood. So her bodega guy's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How's the husband? And she's like, well, he actually died. So she gets a free coffee and a roll from it.
Do you think she still goes to the bodega in her new neighborhood? Because she probably, I feel like once she like got, bougie, she's not going to her bodega anymore. And so she knows her bodega guy from her old life. Yeah. Like at her apartment. But
he's like,
even the state there, like Lisette must be a multimillionaire too. Because spoiler alert, Lisette, who we haven't met, if you're somehow jumping in, could you imagine if someone's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do this from the start with them here. That wouldn't work because we've bitched about the whole series. So Lisette, but anyway.
What's Lisette? You know how Michael Patrick King said, I realized while writing the last episode that this was a perfect time to end. So what was Lisette's story? She's like dating a new guy. Is that right?
I think Lisette's only purpose in the show was to give us, which they never did and never really explored, was a young, like our Carrie type, and someone for Carrie to see themselves in, because she had the curly hair. I'm solely using the curly hair as my connector here. And that Carrie, at the end, I think, when the apartment situation, that allegedly was done, right? So because you can't truly go back to
it was to break the audience's heart, because he was mad because we started talking trash. We found out because when I was doing research for the Michael Patrick King episode, he went on the Vanity Fair Still Watching podcast to fight. And he's like, I listened to every episode of a lot of podcasts about And Just Like That. So he was hearing all of these people point out valid reasons why this show is not working. And then the viewership went from the most watched series premiere ever to dropping 13% per episode. So instead of fixing it, he's listening to these episodes and realizing, or these podcasters, and thinking, how can I break the audience's heart the most? I know. I'll have them trash her apartment to the point beyond repair and then just show them that.
Well, maybe he kind of did the smart thing in the end where he just rage baited it so much that like it created a ton of engagement. It did. More than if it just silently went off into the night. So, leave us with shit floating around and make that our final view of it. And
Victor Garber, Mr. Andrews from Titanic.
I still won't get over the fact that the shit was spewing all over. And mind you, it was 2 feet from the door to the bathroom.
And also,
he just opens the door and walks out.
Solid, healthy poops.
None of that hit his shoes. It's not flowing out from under the door. He takes his time being like, just so you know, something's going on in there. And then Miranda slowly gets up and opens the door and is like, oh my gosh. Okay, back to this episode.
Carrie tells the digging guy, okay, so she comes home to the Hello It's Me house, or her house with big Hello It's Me is playing.
I love this.
Actually, didn't mind that they had Hello It's Me playing because it was kind of their last really beautiful moment together. So whenever she walks in the house, she has a memory of that. I liked that.
I liked that too because it wasn't just nothing.
Yeah.
Something like it wasn't just dead silence or her heels clicking on the floor. Like
she sees the Peloton and she's like, ugh. Carrie calls Charlotte and she's with Charlotte and Miranda here at lunch. Miranda suggests they order another bottle of wine and Charlotte's like, no.
She's like, Miranda.
So Carrie tells them that she's going to sell her old apartment and she's like, and that's it. And next topic, please. So Charlotte wants them to come over to her LTW dinner. And Miranda's like, oh yeah, as long as it's not tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I have dinner with Naya. And that's when she suggests ordering a bottle. But Miranda apparently really is kicking ass in class now that she's learned everyone's pronouns.
As one would expect, and we should expect, even though they've, lobotomized her, I would expect that the lawyer, Miranda Hobbs,
20-year lawyer,
50-something years old, would be able to dominate in a law class at a college.
A preliminary law class.
If she didn't, I'd be like, girl, what? What?
Yeah, what were you doing that whole time?
She's like, oh, I'm really struggling in my law class. I'd be like, in my class, I'd be like, you're a fucking lawyer. Girl, what?
But Miranda, so great. So her and I are becoming friends and they're going to go out for dinner. Enter Sema NYC. Now, Michael Patrick King.
Sorry.
She was fab, but Michael Patrick King was very focused, not on character development, not on plot, not on continuity. He wanted this license plate to say Seema, and he was not taking no for an answer. Because his vision is just joke. That's not really even a joke.
You know what I liked? I will commend mildly. Mm-hmm. The introduction of the character Seema.
Agreed.
Is one of it's like actually probably the most natural character introduction of the new characters. I mean, Naya.
I love this.
Well, yes, but I more mean like the fact that like they waited till episode 4. They could have done that. Once I realized that in this, I had the idea like they should have done that with the other characters. Like have none of them in episode 1, introduce one of them in episode 2, introduce one in episode 3, like kind of just, and then maybe, then maybe we wouldn't feel so like, here guys, take it all. We'll just dump it all right at like, then it would feel like, because Seema coming in, this makes complete sense. And actually her character in this episode, I love.
Yes.
They ruined her character too, unfortunately. But here she's still great. And she is dressed so good in this episode. She looks, love her.
She
Chef's baby.
walks in with Carrie. She's looking at her apartment, and Carrie's like, "I love your name." And she goes, "Oh, it means boundary in Hindi," and which is interesting because I have none. Seema loves all the
was that a
colors.
conscious choice by who? Because one thing I've always thought about Seema's name choice, mind you, again, friends, they could choose any name they want for any of these characters. Like they chose Mia so that they could make the Mama Mia joke over and over.
So you think her name is Seema because of that hilarious boundary line?
Well,
I'm
hoping that's it, because in my mind, if I had my original show, where one of my original 4 was named Samantha and Sam, I wouldn't have my replacement be named Seema and Sam. I'd be distancing. I don't know, just consciously myself. I don't ever understand when shows have people whose names are very close to each other, because I'm like, again, you could choose any name in the world and you've chosen, maybe it was because of boundary. And okay, guys.
Then at least there's an explanation. But she says, I love all the colors of this apartment. And Carrie goes, my husband wasn't a fan of beige, which was a reference to, I think, or maybe it was just another happy accident.
But, well, I think it was a reference to him saying, everything in my place is beige. But I think it was also a fuck up, because 2 episodes ago, I mentioned this on the live, that 2 episodes ago, oh my God, 2 episodes ago, Big's funeral was at like a white nothing. There was no color there. But Carrie didn't even originally want any flowers or anything.
So they should have had a big red wall at the funeral, people were saying in the live.
We originally, on that episode, I think we said that it should have been at somewhere that was like just a really cool historical type place.
Cigars. Like the Elk Club, I think we said.
Yeah, like like the Russian tea room, I think is like just an opulent or something. I don't know, whatever. Who cares, right? Who cares?
She loves the bathroom, and she's like, what would look great in here? A Peloton, which, like we said, no one would ever think that a Peloton is a huge eyesore. Nobody would suggest
in a bathroom closet situation.
No. Seema gives her, and then they get in the car. Seema's like, let me take you downtown. And she's got her driver, Rocco. And then she gives Carrie a cigarette. And I love this. I love seeing Carrie smoke again. It brings me back.
I kind of liked it too. There's, a lot of people were loving when this past season there was a clip of Dorit.
Yeah, I know.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills smoking a cigarette. And I did like this, that Carrie gets in the car and she's like, you smoke? And, so, yeah. The car is gorgeous.
The Doughboys have been saying for years that smoking is cool and smoking is back. Like, you ever see someone smoking and you're like, oh, that person's cool. Like smoking a cigarette, not vaping.
I listen to the podcast I listen to. They have some wrong takes too. And they think that smoking's hot and cool too. Smoking cigarettes? No, guys, no. No.
Ado Annie. What's her name?
Ado Annie.
We'll just call her Ado Annie.
She played Ado Annie in the Oklahoma revival. Her name is Allie Stoker.
She is Carrie. And I just think that this will be so funny if we just have her curse over and over. So she's like, your socials suck. You haven't posted in weeks. They suck. You shit the bed. And then she goes, you guys should be posting. Now here's a continuity error. She goes, you should all be posting like your life depends on it. And Che's the only one posting constantly. And Che goes, yeah, because my life depends on it. Okay. So how successful are you again in this moment?
Now, I actually was okay with slightly, because I think if Che is a stand-up, traveling,
which is why we hate them.
They are, yeah, exactly. That's why we hate them. That's it. They would post about that, I think. Like, that would also be a part of it.
Yeah, but they really waffle through how rich or
successful. Well, they're basically getting to the point. They're getting to a place of like, this entire thing is leading to them being that Allie Stoker being like, Carrie, you haven't posted in 3 weeks, and then it's like, oh, oops, it's because your husband died.
Well, no, she goes, your Instagram page is like a corpse, and they're like, Allie Stoker, no. And she's like, oh, sorry, Carrie. Anyway, get your socials together, please. And so Bobby's like, that was fucked up, Allie Stoker. And she's like, Bobby, just because we fucked that one time. And then they go out in the hallway, they fight.
What? This was the whole time, and I'm sure
and I
someone
just
thought it was funny.
It played too much for comedy to me, and it seems very token-esque to me. Like,
it's not funny.
It's not funny. I think they're like, wouldn't it be funny if her and Bobby have a history? Wouldn't that be crazy to imagine? And then that goes nowhere.
I think is crazy about that. The only part I find crazy about that is that, one, any woman would want to be with Bobby Lee, and two, this is a gorgeous woman. Ain't no effing way that Allie Stoker. No, the problem is sometimes men like Bobby Lee somehow, I don't know how they do it. Now, I know how he does it because he's like a celebrity, but like a man like Bobby Lee, just in general, who I can't stand, they somehow often like weasel their way in with like really hot women.
It's a stand-up comedian thing, I will say. I mean, women flock to them. As I would. That is the kind of guy I'm
my unbelievable part here is that Allie Stoker is way too hot to be with Bobby Lee.
100%. But anyway, Che goes, oh, Carrie, man, I totally would have played the death card or whatever. That's the only time we see Che, so fine, bye.
Thank God.
Okay, so
I hated Che's. I'm going to be a hater here. Someone let me know in the comments. Am I too much of a hater?
For Che?
I hated the way they set this up where they're arguing in the hallway. Okay.
Yeah.
In this outside, it's like visualized if you didn't watch the episode.
It's like the Frasier
podcast room. There is glass and glass.
Yeah.
And there's like a corner, and then there's Che sitting here, and then they walk behind the glass and then around the other piece of glass. Now, while that's happening, Che is like, like eating something and like turning around and like, that is what I hated the most.
And then Eugene or whatever the guy that what's Carrie's producer's name? Franklin. He's like lover's quarrel or something like that. And then
he says young love. And then I think someone says, oh, not so young, and then not so in love.
I actually don't mind that joke.
I don't hate that either, but what are they doing with Franklin's character?
Do you think they knew at this point yet? They must, because they keep he had that line last week that was like, I hate city bikes too, Carrie.
I think they should have done more to push him a little more, because they wait and wait and wait on him.
Yeah.
Right? From my memory, him and Carrie have a moment like what, in the last episode of the season?
The last episode, like it comes out of nowhere.
And like, yes, there's no build up. But they don't do that either with they didn't do that ending in the end with Miranda and LTW. They grazed knees once, and then she had a wet dream about him, and we're supposed to be like, oh my God.
Well, Charlotte and Harry are now in bed, in their twin bed, and they're planning this party. Charlotte and Harry scenes, I actually don't mind. I think the two of them have very good chemistry.
They do.
They are asking Evan Handler to constantly humiliate himself, but at least he's not peeing in this episode. He has to talk about colonoscopies, but that's about it. But like the whole thing with Michelle Obama, I was planning on just saying that I like Michelle Obama, like stuff like that. He's funny. The two of them are somehow making this work. She's like, okay, well, we have room for one more couple. And then she realizes, oh my God, the Washingtons are going to be the only Black couple. And Charlotte, and then he's like, well, why don't we, what about the Jenkins down in 14A or whatever? And Charlotte's like, brilliant. Yes, the Jenkins. So Charlotte goes down to the Jenkins.
We do know that their name is the Wexleys, but, if you aren't following, guys, it's because he played George Washington in Hamilton. That's why we're calling him the Washingtons. I don't want you guys to think that we're just calling him. Anyway.
She goes down to the Jenkins mom, and Charlotte's been blowing up her phone, and she's like, I can't come to your party. And like, do I know you? And Charlotte like embarrasses herself, and it's fine. It's like a well done little.
I think it's a good story to tell, because at the core of it, Charlotte is she's trying. She's what I don't know what the word is, like, but
Overcorrecting.
well, yes, that. But I think that it also is showing that, like, this is the way a lot of people would be like, oh God, oh, um, trying too hard in that way of, but yeah. I'm glad again that Michael Patrick King used his brain for this
And sat
episode
back.
and
Oh my
let
God, yes.
someone who knew what they were doing.
So I said this to you when we were off mic, but I'm like, I'd like to think that it's because he actually respects this Black female writer, but I think it's more that he just knew that like it would be a bad look to talk over her or not, or try to like control her narrative.
Yeah.
I don't think he actually has respect for women because, as we find out, he surrounds himself with all female writers so that he can use his privilege card over them. Charlotte now calls Anthony, and he's working at the Hot Fellas, and she's like, do you have any Black friends that you can send to this party? And he's like, no. Charlotte, now this is where I thought that the storyline was tight, the way they wrapped this up, because it was very like zing, 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 zing. Charlotte asks the woman from the PTA, we called her Claire, she is Black, and she goes, hey, can you, and this was funny. She goes, I'm having a party on Thursday, and I'm wondering if you and Jeff can come. And then Claire is like, who's Jeff? And Charlotte's like, your husband. And she goes, oh, it's pronounced Joff. Sure, I'll call Joff now and see if we can come. I thought that was very funny. Did you not? You didn't give a little?
I think the bar is low, but
okay, sure.
I think I didn't laugh at it.
The woman performed it very well. The way she's like, oh, it's pronounced Joff. And then she comes back. Oh, so then she's out calling Joff to see if they can come. In the meantime, LTW comes out wearing a total normal outfit, but then a huge honking long like string of brown that don't match African beads for no reason other than hair. Toss this on her. Because she's always going to be representing.
They just want to ruin her all the time, though.
Yeah, she walks out and she's like, oh my God, Charlotte, I can't come on Thursday anymore. So this is a funny situation because now you're like, oh, I don't want to have this party anymore. If LTW is not going to be there, I don't want Claire to come. So then Claire does back.
She didn't like Claire to begin with.
Right. Claire called her out. So then
ultimately, there could have been a little more a little more come down on Charlotte.
I don't even think you needed it because I thought, well, then Claire comes back and she's like,
Charlotte is literally just inviting people she doesn't even like just so that she can use them as like what the show's trying to do, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So she comes back and she goes, me and Joff can come. And Charlotte goes, oh no, party's canceled. I forgot that Harry has a colonoscopy on Friday, which I was impressed with just the callback to the fact that she was dealing with a colonoscopy earlier. These are all things that Michael Patrick King usually doesn't do in his writing. And so then Claire goes, well, Charlotte, I guess you do drop the ball sometimes. And Charlotte's like, you're right, Claire, I do. Great. Like that was a perfect little wrap up to that story. Miranda and Naya now. Okay, let's talk about this scene. This was a great scene, I thought. I love a child-free storyline. Miranda and Naya are at a restaurant. They're having trouble with their reservation. Turns out the reservation was from San Francisco. That whole thing could have been cut, to be honest. Didn't need it at all.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what was
because it didn't give us anything. But anyway, Naya, they sit down and Naya goes, they have a conversation about whether or not kids are worth it. And Miranda's like, oh, I love Brady, but like, I didn't always want kids. And then Naya goes, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And this is another theme of the episode, by the way, is when you meet a new friend, it's kind of nice to go out with just them because they don't know. You're a clean slate with this person. So yeah. Seema didn't know Carrie before Big died. And so everything's a clean slate. So Naya says to her, I don't know why I'm telling you this, maybe just because I don't really know you, but when my last IVF didn't go through, I felt a huge wave of relief. And Miranda, I think, is kind of normal in this scene, like normal human, not crazy psycho. She's like, well, you know what? If your IVF does take, then it's going to be the greatest experience of your life. And if it doesn't take, then they're not that great anyway, kids.
Well, Naya's saying that she was fine with it, basically.
Yeah. Andre Rashad
leave each other anyway. And it had been rumored throughout allegedly that people were saying that Naya and her were supposed to originally get together.
Yeah, or maybe
Was
that's
that like in the brainstorming phase?
I think so.
Someone clarify. I know one of you watching right now is the person who said that, or one of the people who've said that Naya and Miranda were originally supposed to get together, but then Cynthia Nixon wanted Sarah Ramirez, I guess.
Oh.
So someone, please, was this in the brainstorming phase, or was this, I mean, it had to have been, right? Because they already have, I mean, literally her and Cynthia Nixon and Sarah Ramirez have already like done their shotgunning thing last episode.
Yeah, true. I mean, like it was already planned or preordained, but Naya and Miranda come to a conclusion. Naya's like, oh, I actually loved this analogy. She goes, yeah, there's a Miranda goes, I knew this woman in college, and she wanted kids, but she also wanted to be she also wanted to further her career, so she didn't have kids, and now she's a judge. And then Naya goes, yeah, but she's a judge that goes home to an empty apartment every night. And Miranda goes, you know what? Sometimes I would love to be a judge who goes home to an empty apartment. And then Naya's like, but I don't know, like can you have it all? And then they kind of come to a conclusion that you can have it all, but not really. I would argue that the patriarchy has set it up so that women literally cannot have it all. You can't like achieve equal things in motherhood and career, because that's the way they set it up for us.
The world has set it up where
patriarchy,
a single person alone, couldn't have a child, like couldn't raise a child.
Right. I mean, I know there are some that can, but it's definitely you're working against the system to achieve.
The way that they're saying you would like they would like to ideally is it's one way or the other. You can't spend the time you would want to with your child because you have to work, and we're in a world and society where like your work isn't paid and valued enough to where you're then having to work to pay for the kid and then paying the child care for the kid that you're not then getting to see.
But isn't it so weird how men can somehow have it all? Because they never actually have to parent.
Okay, but a single man, well, can they? Though having it all really is like having the parent, the connection with your child.
But I don't think the way fatherhood has been set up by society in general is not, fatherhood doesn't look the way motherhood looks. It's not like constant attention and I'm actually parenting and I know my kid's science teacher's name or their allergies or their doctor's name.
No, they know nothing. They don't even know their wives' like birthdays.
Because men look at having kids the way kids look at about having a dog or a puppy. And
great.
It doesn't apply to all men. Some men are fine.
Okay, well.
Yeah, you're fine.
I don't have kids though, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm too old. So
yeah, this seems like a lot. Anyway, they go out to lunch. Oh, sorry. Miranda says, "God, sometimes I wish I could be a judge." So that scene's over. Seema and Carrie now. Seema takes Carrie for some reason to like one of her other clients, some bachelor pad. There's a motorcycle in the middle of the living room, and Carrie's like, "Oh, what's with this motorcycle?" And Seema's like, "That's an example of why you have to stage a house and you can't just leave your personal shit everywhere." And some gross guy comes up and hits on Carrie, and Michael Patrick King says this is Carrie at her most Carrie, and this when she's with Seema, it's like watching the old Sex and the City again. It's like watching Carrie in her 30s. I'm like, is it? Is that
she seems standoffish and rude. When the guy walks away, she's like, "Oh my God, that's my worst nightmare." I mean, the guy sure was not someone she'd want to be with, but like he wasn't like, "Hey baby, let's fuck." I mean, he did say, "You want to go check out the bedroom?" Which was
he did. But like Carrie's wasn't like light. It wasn't like watching.
I would also like argue the end of this scene, Seema is like, "Oh my God, I feel so bad for the girl who's doing the open house on this." I understand there's a motorcycle and a horse statue, but like
it's a sprawling New York penthouse.
Like it's a humongous loft, like gigantic floor to ceiling windows, beautiful. Like
and it's clean.
They're acting like she's acting like it's a freaking dump, and the person is like being held against their will, holding an open house at this piece of shit. It's like really
right.
Like a person can't walk in there and be like, "Oh, I see there's a motorcycle there. When I live here, there won't be a motorcycle there." So, I mean, like,
imagine it without the motorcycle.
Girl,
So they go to
But
lunch
okay.
now, and Seema's showing Carrie her like dating profile, and Carrie makes a comment of, "Well, I just think it's great that you're still getting yourself out there." And Seema's like,
I did like her reaction, especially in the second, like, in a rewatch kind of too. After she has the conversation, says what she says to Carrie later, you pick up on her reaction more because she
"You
says,
do."
"Well, hopefully you," or what did she say? She says, "You, um, what does she say exactly? What does Carrie say to
Ooh.
Seema?"
She says, "I think it's great that you're still putting yourself out there."
And I think Seema does have a response, and she's like, "It is," or "I am," or something, and then she
Yeah,
takes a
she has like
drink.
a low key moment of like you can tell she's pissed, but you
Uh-huh.
have to kind of be looking for it. So that was fine.
I think, again, if we could have followed this Seema more, where she is a badass bitch, because she really stands up for herself at the end in a way that not many people stand up to Carrie.
No.
And I liked it.
Okay, so here we have the scene with at LTW's house, which I think is a beautiful scene. The art is actually great, and like
Amazing.
the woman who wrote this, I already said her name, but now I forget it.
Well, this is also too
Kelly
one of
Goff.
the introductions to George Washington's mother.
Yeah, well, she was in another episode too. She was
She was?
at Lily's recital,
Oh yeah.
and she was
Well,
like
she's
cunty, but
still here being a total bitch about everything, and it's
I
like,
don't actually mind that storyline because mother-in-laws really can just like ruin your fucking life.
well,
But
yeah.
Kelly Goff like actually knows all this art, and like Michael Patrick King's like, Kelly, the art was beautiful, and then she's like, all right, shut the fuck up, I'm going to talk about the art. So she actually talks about each art piece, and Michael Patrick King is like, he like knows fucking nothing.
Michael Patrick King also probably doesn't like the art. He's just horrid.
My favorite
Call
piece
up
of
MPK.
art.
Come on our podcast, MPK. I would absolutely adore that. You can read us to absolute filth. You can tear us. You can tell us that the only reason we don't like Che Diaz is because they're a stand-up to our face. And I'll be like, okay.
You would? I just wouldn't even. There's no way I'd show up.
My reaction would be that, okay, and then I would laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Okay.
what? I mean, I wouldn't be like, you're a moron, but I'll take the view.
My favorite piece of art in here is the picture, and it's I don't know, like I don't know, it looks like it's like hand painted, but then some of it's in black and white, and it's two women standing outside of a restaurant that says "colored only," I think. And I thought it was just such a beautiful, stunning image, and I like that some parts were like hand painted in. Anyway, Charlotte's going to reference all these.
I think it's interesting that they never point out that there must have been a move between apartments because this doesn't look like their apartment later on. Someone correct me. Maybe I'm wrong. But later on, they're in a very like wood-laden, velvet trimmed home. And this is like, again, like a white walled loft style space.
Maybe they move. But Charlotte,
I am all about the details.
I did notice that it's definitely not the same thing. But Charlotte and Harry arrive there in the elevator, and Charlotte's, oh my god, I'm so nervous. Please don't embarrass yourself, and like, please make sure that like you sound worldly. And he's like, I was just gonna say that I like Michelle Obama. And she's like, no. She's like, why are you sweating so much? And he's like, you're making me stressed out, Charlotte. And so he's like sweating through his suit. So
I did actually think that part was fun. That was one funny line.
Because it also references that he sweat. Like when she first meets Harry, he's like, God, I'm schwitzing over here.
Also, they have a good back and forth together where he's like, it's the way she delivers the, oh my God, you're sweating. And he's like, well, I wonder why. It's like
Carrie's apart. Oh, so Charlotte walks up to a woman and she's like, Gwen. And this woman's name is Shauna. And she's like, no, I'm not Gwen. My name is Shauna, but I do know who you're talking about. And like,
she was actually way more gracious even than when you're recounting it. She's like,
oh yeah, too much nicer.
You can tell in a way that like, and this obvious, I'm glad they incorporated this, obviously, because this is something that happens. And the idea that like people seem to think that other people look the same when you're in different, races. So I'm glad they used that. And I liked the way that they had the character reacting to it almost in a way that like, I'm used to this.
Like this happens all the time, but
okay, you know, lady.
well, Michael Patrick King was very nervous about it. He goes,
Oh.
everyone on set was nervous. In fact, I mean, I wasn't nervous. I, of course, knew that this was going to work. But to ease everyone's mind on set, he's acting like everyone on set is up in arms. Like, we can't film this.
Shows, though. That's what...
So he goes over to the side and he puts her on, he calls her on speakerphone, Kelly or the other writer. But he calls and he goes, can you let everyone know, say out loud one more time why we have to do this storyline? And she's like, because it happened to me.
Sounds like he's projecting in that way a little bit.
Sure does.
And it's like, yeah, that exactly is a reason why you're glad that you have her writing it and not you.
He's making a really big production of this whole thing. Well, Carrie's apartment is all beige. So she calls Miranda, who's drinking a glass of wine. And Carrie says, it's really nice to hang out with Seema because she doesn't know me before, like with Big. I'm just like brand new. And then she's walking around her apartment. She's like, oh my God, the Peloton, it's back. So Carrie grabs Big's ashes and she's like, come on, we don't belong here anymore. I didn't mind this. Now we're back at the dinner. Charlotte, they're all sitting down and the mother-in-law is being a total bitch. And she's like, oh, Charlotte, you're an art dealer. Well, what do you think of all this art here? LTW is like going to run us out of house and home. And Charlotte's like, well, as an art dealer, LTW has picked the most beautiful. I couldn't imagine a better investment. And she's pointing out each artwork. Everyone's very impressed. And then somebody at the table references Michelle Obama. And then Harry goes, I loved her book. And then everyone laughs. Except I don't think they would laugh because they weren't in on that joke from before, but fine.
Yeah, I think they'd be like, okay, are you okay, sir? I liked that, and this may have been I'm assuming it was intentional. That they showed that this gave kind of a little button onto Charlotte's anxieties leading into this about thinking she needs to kind of be someone else to let this person to get closer to these people. And again, not these people. I'm saying the people she's with.
Yeah. This group of people.
And so really the way that she was able to get closest is by being herself and showing what and also showing her intelligence and her knowledge. Yeah. I like that it was that.
I was proud of her actually, because it isn't. I mean, I'll say it would be an intimidating experience to walk in as the only white person. It would be. I would be very intimidated and scared that I was gonna say something stupid or I wouldn't be able to relate. And this was. It was well done the way this was written because it was written by a Black person and that Michael Patrick King wasn't involved. Carrie, sorry, do you have anything else to say about that? Okay. Nope. Carrie returns home. She puts Big's ashes up with her shoes. And she now finds a note from Stanford. Anthony comes over and they sit and they discuss and he's like, he asked me for a divorce. Or Stanford is like representing some TikTok stars. She moved to Japan. He went with her to represent her and he wants a divorce. And Anthony's like, I don't understand. We were so happy. And that's it. Charlotte and LTW.
I'm going to give them as much attention as they want on it. And I'll say, okay.
Next day, Charlotte and LTW kind of break down. This was well written too. Like Charlotte's like, to be honest, LTW's like, thank you so much for saving me. And Charlotte's like, oh no, to be honest, I was actually kind of nervous about being the only white people there and that we don't have any other Black friends. And LTW's like, you know what? I was actually really nervous too, but it worked out well. And Charlotte's like,
references actually the original dinner party too. Because doesn't she say that I was worried that you and George Washington were going to be the only Black people at my dinner party? And then LTW is like, I thought that you were going to be the only white people at my dinner party. Right. So
then Charlotte says like, oh, I just wanted to be perfect. And then LTW is like, well, that's impossible. Like, you shouldn't expect that. So that was great. Again, LTW, like, this was beautiful. The way they could have set up this friendship to just really grow. But next week we got the finger bang. So Seema, Carrie now meets up with Seema. She goes back to the Hello, It's Me house. Seema's chilling there. Carrie brings sushi. And Seema's like, just so you know, the movers broke this picture. The glass broke on this frame.
Okay, sorry to correct you, but Seema broke it because she says that's important in their dialogue, because she says, I tucked it away in the drawer, and Carrie's like, I thought that they wouldn't fuck up a Picasso. They move Picassos. And she's like, oh no, it wasn't them, it was me. Like, I put it there. And Carrie's like, well, why'd you put it there? And she's like, well, it was a personal item. And Carrie's like, yeah, it was a personal item. And Seema's like, I know, I told you to put those away. And she's like, and Seema's like, but I can fix it. It
was on his side of the bed. Now, the picture itself is very strange. This picture is a picture of like big behind Carrie. She's sitting down and they're at like a dinner, and it looks like a picture that you would throw out if you were getting this stack of pictures about. This would be like a toss, because
isn't it like a screenshot almost from the original series?
I guess it must be a reference to something, but it's not like a picture that you would now frame and put next to your bedstand.
I understand Carrie's vibe here. I actually do. And I was somewhat on the side of the broken glass at the apartment because I hated Aiden too. Or at the mansion, I should say. Yes. In this case, I get what she's saying, because Seema does say she can replace the glass, and Carrie's like, okay, but you can't, because he would touch that's part of the whole, like, it's not just the photo, it's the whole thing. So I get that. But I loved what then happens. Right. Because so again, this is all, it's like Carrie's life, where everything is constantly about Carrie.
And catering to Carrie and her fucking feelings. She goes, you don't see, Seema's like, I am sorry. Like, that's all I can really give you at this point. And Carrie's like, well, you don't seem sorry. You're just sitting over there very casual, not worried about if you're being insensitive. And Seema's like, okay, I'll take that and raise you that you're a total bitch too. And you were very insensitive the other night or the other day when I was showing you my dating profile, and you said, oh, that's nice that you could get back out there. And Carrie's like, oh, I didn't realize I was being insensitive. And then they sit and eat sushi, and just like that.
They keep going though in the conversation, and in a good way. And then Carrie actually like is dommed down, and I loved it.
They eat sushi, and Carrie, the last line is, and just like that, we begin our real friendship. And then it says, in memory of our beloved Willie Garson, after Michael Patrick King's name comes up as executive producer, of course. Then in memory of our beloved Willie Garson.
Really?
Yeah. Really?
Does it usually do that on shows?
No, it goes immediately to the card is what they do.
Okay, yay, the end of the episode. Yay, we did it. Okay, minor offshoot. You know, Jiggly Caliente passed away. Bianca Castro, I think, was her name. And she was a judge on Drag Race Philippines. And this most recent episode of the Drag Race Philippines Slasian Royale that they're doing, she wasn't judging that season, I think because she was ill. And in the episode, during the filming of that day of the episode, they found out that she passed away. Oh. It's really interesting to see.
Wow.
And it's still so sad.
Yeah. Anyway, they kind of address him on the Writers Room podcast, but again, like not really. He's like, oh, it was just such a huge, no. He's like, it's just such a huge loss for all of us, you know? Anyway, and then it's like, well, anyway, thanks for joining us on the Writers Room podcast. Dun, 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 dun.
Does Michael Patrick King ever reference that he sees himself in Stanford or Anthony, or are they just too miserable, too big of losers?
No, I don't think he gets that he sees himself in any of this.
Yeah, because he fixes things. Okay, guys.
Sir, yeah.
Guys, I'm tired of listening to this episode.
You're tired.
I'm tired of this episode. We love you guys so much. Here's what I hope you can.
Next week, Joan.
Oh, baby, it's Tragically Hip. Here's what you need to do. You need to watch the episode, Tragically Hip. You need to listen to the Writers Room podcast episode that covers it, because get ready.
We could make that our episode for Wednesday for the roundup. We could just do a recap
Let's
of the
think it over.
Yeah.
Then you need to join us on Patreon, patreon.com/podinthecity, because over there we do extra episodes every week and early release, and we're going to do a live reaction to the finger banging. And then join us live on Friday at 2 p.m. EST on YouTube.
Should we
That's
dress
it.
up for that, or what should we like? What should we wear for the
For finger banging?
for the
What do you
viewing
dress up
party? We dress like really slutty.
Fingers. I'll dress up as a finger.
We're finger.
Anyway,
Yeah.
goodbye. We love you guys
Bye,
so much.
guys.
Leave a comment, all that stuff. Bye bye.
Yeah.